Good evening, guests and fellow Toastmasters. A warm welcome to meeting number 7 of the Gabbys International Club. I am Toastmaster Bimpy Kumari, your Sergeant at Arms for today. I am sure you're as excited as I am. The meeting will be blocked for 2 hours and you are expected to stay for the entire duration. Before we start meeting, I want to highlight some key points. Your video should be on, your audio should be off. Your audio should be on only when you are called to speak or need to speak. Regarding the topics of sex, religion, and politics, even though Toastmaster International doesn't put any restriction on speaking on these topics. At the Gabbys Toastmaster, we request all the speakers and the role takers to be mindful and responsible and absent from expressing any controversial views on these sensitive topics. Also urge you to be cognizant of the fact that we, as a club, practice diversity, inclusion in letter and in spirit, hence ensuring there is no sexist, racist, or any such undertones that create hostility and discomfort for members or the guest. Now let me call upon our presiding officer for today's meeting. He is the one who loves masala puri over any charts, and he's punctual, disciplined, and also he's calm and down to earth. He is not diet conscious. Even he loves to prepare mixed vegetable full of capsicum, potatoes, cabbages, and tomatoes, which also loved by his family. Enjoys it. At Toastmaster, he is the current president of the Gabbys Toastmaster Club and also completed 6 paths, obtained 4 triple crowns and 5 path breakers award. He is the current division B director at D92, a club coach, a club sponsor, a pathway mentor and a mentor to several Toastmasters across districts. Now, I want to welcome our presiding officer for today's meeting, Nagesh Ramamurthy. Distinguished Nagesh Ramamurthy, stage is yours. Everyone,
So
give a
much.
hand, give your hands, put your hands together and welcome him.
Thank you so much. That was a wonderful introduction. I never expected that. And I didn't know so much about myself. Thank you for reminding me. That was our Sergeant at Arms Toastmaster, Manvi. Give her a huge round of applause, please. Good evening, Toastmasters. I bring this meeting number 7 to order. I see some guests to the Gabbys International Toastmasters Club. Welcome to you, Toastmaster Tarun, DTM Atul, Toastmaster Kanthi, Toastmaster Anukul. I think uh, they are the ones who are as visiting Toastmasters and guests today. Welcome to you, all of you, and welcome the members of the Gabbys family. Can I request Toastmaster Anukul to unmute himself, step forward, and give a 15 seconds introduction? Are you a Toastmaster Anukul? I think he was a little away from his microphone. DTM Atul, welcome, and how are you feeling in our club today? What are your expectations?
Very good. Good evening, all of you. They say that first impression is the best impression, and I find that the Gabby's International Toastmaster is very well organized. The pre-meeting planning, the pre-meeting communication is excellent, and therefore my expectations are very high, and I wish you the very best. And it's my privilege to be with you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, can I request Toastmaster Kanti to unmute and say a few words about what is she expecting while I wish you all the very best for your speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Kanti.
Good evening. You want me to introduce myself, is it?
How are you feeling joining our club today in the meeting? And what are your expectations today?
I I'm very happy to join Gabbys today and give a speech. And my expectations are to listen to a wide variety of speeches. And the one thing I know that I do when I listen to a speech is that I have even the tiniest, most important message to take home. I'm looking for that beautiful bits of information that I could glean to carry with me on my journey. That's what my expectation for this evening is.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. So very well said. We take something or the other from each of those who speak today in the meeting, isn't it? Well, with that, now I'm so very eager to explore more on this wonderful and lively topic, slurp and burp, which reflects my passion for indulging in, wow, delicious food. Many of you know that I live to eat, and I find sheer joy in exploring various cuisines, and I savor every bite that I take. While I am a fast eater, but I enjoy eating. My love for sweets adds that extra dash of excitement to the adventures that I have on food. And as always, I look out for some dessert to satisfy my sweet tooth. Wherever I go for a gathering or a get together where there is food served, I start looking from the reverse, that is the dessert section, what is being served. I would have had more sweets. Some of my teeth have left me forever. However, I don't stop eating sweets. While few of you may find it unconventional, I'm very apologetic and very uncomfortable with occasional burp in public. Though for some, it's a good sign of unabashed enjoyment for good food, but I find it a little uncomfortable when I burp in public. But in some cultures, I'm told that it's perfectly okay to say that you have enjoyed the food. And when it comes to noodles, soup, the South Indian paisam, the ice creams, you will often find me enthusiastically slurping away, relishing this flavor with every gulp I have. I welcome you all to this journey in this meeting filled with flavorful experiences and unfiltered enjoyment, I would say. Now, at this stage, I must thank the proposal of this topic related to food for discussion in today's meeting. I'm sure, I am sure that before this meeting ends, if you're not feeling hungry now, you will start feeling hungry. For more slurps and burps, I would now bring onto the stage someone who has made Toastmasters as her new habit. Taking role in every meeting, that definitely is a habit for her. Despite having served as senior English faculty at prestigious schools and an IELTS trainer, I admire her as she takes notes in every meeting she attends. I appreciate that dedication of hers. So please put your hands together as I welcome the Toastmaster of this evening, Toastmaster Jaspreet Kaur. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Presiding Officer TTM Nagesh. I'm so humbled with these words. I think you have spoken those things which happen behind the camera. At times the camera is off, but I don't know how you caught on to that. So thank you so much for that. And good evening, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, I'm your Toastmaster of the day, and I'll be taking you all on a culinary journey with me, a very exciting culinary journey. And again, thanks to DTM Nagesh for giving food for thought to everybody. Slurps and burps. He has given food for thought, something which I wanted to take up. He's already, introduced the topic and left that spark with all of us what it's going to be about. And everything is very, very subjective. When a child eats slurping, the mother is annoyed. The guests were there, you were making so much noise. And then after eating, he burps. Again, the mother shows her eyes to, or the parent, or anybody else along with the child. But can you imagine the mom has made a vegetable which the child did not like, and she created a concoction out of that. For us, the North Indians, it's a pav bhaji, or probably some pakoras out of some kaddu kind of a thing. And the child lovingly eats and he slurps. A mother like me would be very happy because my battle has been won. My child is eating the vegetable which he would not. That's slurping. And he will burp. That's a sign of victory for me as the mother. So yes, it is all very, very subjective. But before that, how did this thought happen? Because every thought happens due to a reason. So just I hope my screen is visible to everybody.
Yes.
One second. Put a change.
So something like this happened with me. Also, although not with a strawberry. Last week, I visited my friend, and that was the time I was just thinking about what would be my topic for the theme for the meeting today. So I was just thinking, and I visited my friend, and she offered me a laddu. That laddu was full of nuts, seeds of all kinds. It had dates. It had one more ingredient, which was fenugreek. And when I had it, it was yum. And that was specifically made to beat this Delhi cold wave that is going on these days. The Delhi people would be able to agree with me. The moment I bit my teeth into that laddu, it was a voila moment for me. And I felt I have found my theme, which is slurps and burps or food of different kinds. So, what are we exactly going to talk about today? What is going to be the content? Everything. We'll talk it all. And it's not I would encourage you people also, the guests, the Toastmasters, the distinguished Toastmasters. Whatever has been your voila moment with food, if it has ever happened, there are occasions food lifts our mood. At times you're not feeling well, you were unwell, you could not eat anything. And, that first spoon of that khichdi when you eat, that tastes so sweet. Or in the months of June for us in Delhi, you're thirsty, you're back home, your bottle of water was finished. You came home, that first sip of water, oh my God, that is nectar. So something of that kind you can share, what information you have, certain things which we don't know of, and certain things which were a misrepresentation or a misinformation for all of us. So let's get going. And again, the Delhi people would agree with me that we need something to warm ourselves up. So let's have an activity, a small little activity where, there are certain food items which have an identity crisis. We know about one aspect or two aspects, but then it turns out to be something different. So just give me. So can we tell about this particular thing which is kept in the plate, not the drink, but the edible thing? What is that? And anything about that?
It's a croissant.
Yeah, it's a croissant. So where does it belong to?
France.
Pardon?
I think croissants are originally French, but right now their identity has gone global and you get all sorts of fillings. So
Okay.
I don't think you can place a croissant in one culture.
so we can see it for ourselves. I don't have to speak much about it. You know, we feel it's from France, and people have started pronouncing the word also according to that French accent, but actually it hails from Austria. It is a big, big misinformation that we have, and I don't think I've got time to venture more into the history of this savory snack. Can you tell me what is this?
Fish and chips,
Yes, belong to.
England.
Can we see the difference? Portugal, 880, and Britain, they put the two things together. They were smart enough to put the fish fried and then the chips, and then they put it together. I think I'll just end this over here because we have to continue further. And obviously, we will continue with this. This is a very interesting thing that we are doing. And uh, yeah. Just
Ma'am, I can't hear you.
yes, yes. Actually, I was just going through certain important messages that had come. Yeah. So we'll continue. So with the proceedings of the meeting, we have this meeting into three sections. The Toastmasters meeting is divided into three sections. And we'll begin, just a minute. Yes. So we, the Toast, but then for the benefit of the guests, I would like to just very quickly tell about the structure of the meeting. So a regular Toastmasters meeting will have three sections. The first section is of the prepared speeches. Now here, the speeches are divided according to the path taken up by the speaker, the level and the project that he's covering in that particular meeting. This is in accordance to Toastmasters International guidance. The second section is the table topic section, which is the most interesting of all, as it tests the impromptu speaking skills of the speaker as well as the thinking skills, the impromptu thinking skills of the speaker. This is that part of the meeting where we can have the guests also participating into it. More information I would want the table topic master to share with you. Now, the third and the last section is the evaluation section, which will be conducted by the general evaluator. So today, our general evaluator, as the general evaluator, we have distinguished Toastmaster Atul Sirivastava. Dr. Atul Sirivastava is a Toastmaster for a long time and is a safety, environment, and quality management professional from the manufacturing industry. He's a well-accomplished table tennis player, a distinguished Toastmaster champion, a yoga and meditation practitioner, a photographer, and an avid globetrotter. I invite DTM Atul Srivastava to the virtual stage. Over to you, DTM Atul.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jaspreet, and hello all Toastmasters. In particular, the guests, I would like to tell that our evaluation section of the meeting is a very, very formative phase of the meeting, and that is where most of us learn about the performance that we delivered, could be speaker, role players, and that is where we come to know our strength and weaknesses. I will be assisted by a panel of evaluators and a panel of monitors whom we call as TAGL team, that is timer, R counter, grammarian, and listener. As per the agenda, as all of you might be having, my tag team consists of timer Yogita, R counter, Toastmaster Tarun, grammarian Aparna, and listener in their Pau. And my evaluator panel consists of Toastmaster Mamta Singh, Toastmaster Khushbu, and Toastmaster Bindhu. I would now like to invite Toastmaster Yogita to come forward and introduce her role as a timer.
Greetings, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. So as a timer, I will time the table topic speakers. I'll time the formal speeches and the evaluations. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left using the green, yellow, and red cards, which denote specific time meanings remaining. So table topic speakers should limit their remarks to no more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I'll raise the green card. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, I'll raise the yellow card. And at 2 minutes, I'll raise the red card. Those giving speeches should also limit their remarks to a specific speech time. Icebreaker speeches should be 4 to 6 minutes in length. At 4 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 5 minutes, I'll raise the yellow card. And at 6 minutes, I'll raise the red card. Other speeches should be 5 to 7 minutes at length. At 5 minutes, I'll raise the green, 6 yellow, at 7 red. And for the evaluators, it is for 2 minutes, the green card, 2.5 minutes, the yellow, and the 3 minutes, the red card. One important point is that you also have a grace time if like in case if you are exceeding. So 30 seconds grace time is available for evaluation and prepared speeches at both upper and lower end. Okay, and for table topics, 30 seconds grace time is available at lower end. Okay, thank you so much. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Yogita, for wonderfully introducing your role as a timer. May I now request our counter, Toastmaster Tarun Agrawal, to please come forward and introduce your role as an R counter.
Thank you, Toastmaster Atul. Hello, friends. In Toastmasters, we try to learn speaking communication fluently. And one of the things which we avoid or which we learn is avoiding using any not required words or sounds. Not required sounds like or any filler words like well, so. I would to help you out in this meeting, I will keep a note of all these sounds or filler words. I'll also make a note of repetitive words, any short or long pauses. And at the end, on the call of Toastmaster Atul, I will share my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tarun, for very appropriately introducing your role. And now I invite Grammarian of this meeting, Toastmaster Aparna Raja, to please come forward and introduce your role.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. As your grammarian today, it is my job to pay very close attention to everything that is spoken here at the meeting and to take note of all the nice things that are said, the good usages, the great words, and so on. Along with that, I will also be making sure that I take note of the not so great usages and probably even bring about certain observations in terms of grammatical usages and maybe better word choices. So that would be my primary work. But along with that, I have something fun. I have a word of the day. And the word for today would be delectable. Delectable. Now, this is not a very new word. I'm sure a lot of us have used it. The meaning is delicious or mouth-watering. However, this is an adjective that we don't use all too frequently when it comes to food. And just a reminder, and that is why using that word, an example of the usage would be the food served at the wedding was delectable. With that, I shall be back with my report when called upon to serve the report towards the end of the meeting. With that, back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aparna, for introducing your role. All the photos, mouth-watering photos, which Toastmaster Jaspreet had shown us on the screen, I'm sure when we actually eat them, they will be very much delectable. We are missing the actual taste. Well, now I invite our last monitor of my TAGL team, Toastmaster Inderpal Chadda as a listener of the meeting. And as you would appreciate earlier, we used to focus only on speaking and evaluating time management, but many clubs very fondly have introduced the listener's role, which actually checks how attentive we are. So, as Toastmasters, we should not be only good at speaking, but also listening and comprehending things which were transacted during the meeting. So, Toastmaster Inderpal, can you please come forward? May you please come forward and introduce your role? You are muted.
You're not muted, but we can't hear you in the point. It could be your headphone. Can you try speaking?
Is it audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so thanks, General Evaluator Atul, and good evening to all the fellow Toastmasters. So I'll be playing the listener role today, and I will be checking the listening skills of everyone during the meeting. So pay special attention to all the details. I will be drafting few questions which I'll be asking in the end. So all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Inderpal. Well, friends, during my session, that is general evaluation, I will be inviting my TAGL team as well as the panel of evaluators to give a feedback on how various speakers and role players performed on their respective assignments. And that is where we will learn towards the end of the meeting. And also, I will be assessing the whole meeting, how we did on various aspects of the meeting from a third party point of view, so that we can improve on the meeting as a whole as well. And also highlights the strengths that we have in this meeting. With these words, I hand over back to Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Jaspreet.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator, sir, for introducing the TAGL team. May I request everybody to please give a big round of applause to him. Thank you, sir. Now, our prepared speakers for the day must be waiting anxiously for their speeches. So let's straight away venture into the next section, the first section for the day. Now, as the first speaker for the day, we have Toastmaster Kanthi Perera. Can we please spotlight Kanthi? And the evaluator for Kanthi would be Evaluator Mamta Singh. Mamta Singh, can you please confirm your presence in the meeting?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, well, Toastmaster Kanthi Perera was originally from FTZ Toastmasters in 2009, where she completed up to ACS. Now again, Toastmaster Kanthi has started afresh as a member of the Jaila Toastmasters Club. Toastmaster Kanthi is a lover of dogs and cats and cares about the environment. Today, she'll be delivering her level 1, project 2. The name of the project is Delivering Speech with Purpose, and the path is Motivational Strategies. Timer, please note the speech duration would be 5 to 7 minutes. Toastmaster Kanthi, are we ready? All right. Toastmaster, could you please have an audio check? We'll have a delectable dinner today. Can you please repeat?
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready.
All right.
We have a delectable.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, Toastmaster Kanthi, compassion, Toastmaster Kanthi. Over to you.
Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. It was the 10th of March, the year 2011, and it was just a normal evening for the entire family as we sat around the television watching the evening news. When suddenly the newscaster delivered this bit of advice or information that brought my little boy's world crashing down. He said that a mother had thrown her 3-year-old kid in the Kaluganga or the Kalutara River that morning, and the little boy had been rescued by a passing lorry driver. The room, our hall, erupted in a lot of opinions. My little Daniel turned around to me and asked, "Can she do that? Do mothers do that?" My husband and I rushed to put his mind at rest to say, "You know, Putat, something must have happened. There might have been other causes." But my mother and my mother-in-law were quick to condemn, quick to judge. My mother started with, if she didn't want the kid, why on earth couldn't she give it to somebody else who would have brought this child up with love? And my mother-in-law turned around and asked, just because she can't stay at home, she goes and has kids and then she throws them in a river? Horrible woman. My husband and I grabbed Daniel from the room and walked out. Little Amila, the little boy, struggled for his life. The entire country prayed. But 3 days later, he lost the battle and he passed away. And then the condemnation started. Condemnation against a mother who couldn't care less about her baby, who threw him in the river, and she survived. Initially, she had tried to kill herself, but the passers-by had stopped her. Little by little, the details started emerging. Malini, this mother, had 5 other kids. She was married. She had a husband. None of them were educated enough to make ends meet. Now, this husband had tried hard. He had tried to put food on the table, realized that he was fighting a losing battle, and finally abandoned Malini with the 6 kids and walked away with another woman, of course. Now, this uneducated woman with 5 other kids in tow and a little 3-year-old boy could not get to work and find money to feed them. She started begging at the Karutara temple, but she couldn't make ends meet. Very often, they couldn't have 3 square meals of rice a day. She borrowed from neighbors. They depended on the food that the neighbors threw away or gave away. The other children could understand when they had to eat a meal called dinner with a crust of bread and a cup of tea, but Amila could not understand. He was just 3 years old. He kept on demanding for biscuits, for milk, and poor Malini was at her wit's end. She tried to put her kids into the government system of foster care. But there was so much red tape, so much documentation. This uneducated poor woman could not find the resources to get all the paperwork necessary to put her 5 children into an orphanage. She tried to put the eldest boy into the Khartara market so that he could earn a living. But the laws of the country prevented her from employing a minor and earning off him. So even that went on to a dead end. So what does she do? She decides somebody will look after the other 5. I will abandon Amila at the temple. And she tried that thrice. But little Amila would have nothing of that. Every time his mother tried to abandon him among the crowd of the temple and walk away, he would follow her yelling, "Mother, mother, mother." And that also was a failure in the end. Finally, in one act of sheer desperation, This woman picks this boy up and throws him over the bridge into the raging waters of the Kalutara River. And that is when the world meets Amina. Now, my friends, many of us would have seen Malini begging the foot of the Kalutara boat tree. Many of us would have seen Amina playing on her lap. But none of us saw it fit to reach out and lend a helping hand. None of the government officials that she would have gone and begged for information would have seen it fit to help her, to institutionalize her 6 kids, that they would have had a better tomorrow. If any one of these had happened, do you think that baby Amila, 3 years old, would have ended up the way he did? We are so busy condemning each other. We are so busy pointing fingers that we do not stop and ask ourselves, what can I do to help this poor woman? When finally she breaks, we condemn. She could have done this. She could have done that. We could have done this. We could have done that. We could have stopped looking the other way. Therefore, I beg of you, there are many more Amilas in the world out there, especially in times of economic crisis like the ones we are going through today. There are many more Malinis outside in the world today begging for our help. You and I cannot help the entire community of Amilas when I cannot help the entire communities of Malinis. But you and I can help one Amila or one Malini. Let's show compassion. Let's change their life, one human life at a time. Let's show compassion and help them through. Back to you, Toastmaster.
I don't know what to say, Toastmaster Kanthi. Even though it's nothing to clap what you've discussed, but then the way you've presented it, that calls for appreciation. And I could see that compassion, not just in your voice, but even in your eyes. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, with this, after this, let's move on to our next speaker for the second speaker for the day. So the second speaker is Toastmaster Samita Kar. Samita Kar, are you there? Can you please?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for confirming. And the evaluator would be Khushbu Modi. Khushbu, can you also please confirm your presence?
Yes, hi. I'm in attendance as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Toastmaster Samita has 30 plus years of experience in the academia as a principal and now also as a trainer. She's the mother of 2 wonderful children, and one of them, her son Souvik, is the reason why she's there in Toastmasters today. And she is another speech crafter who is now all set to become a Toastmaster. And my personal views about Toastmaster Samita, your speeches, your evaluations, your table topics are absolutely power-packed. So let's have another power-packed performance from you today. So Toastmaster Samita is attempting her level 1 project 4, the project name being evaluation and feedback speech 1, and the path is effective coaching. Timer, please note the speech duration would be 5 to 7 minutes. Toastmaster Samita, are we ready?
Yes.
All right. Toastmaster Samita, the unknown path, Toastmaster Samita. Over to you.
Standing on the cusp of my dream becoming a reality, I looked to the left and to the right, staggering mountains on one side and gushing river at the other. And me with my fast beating heart, looking expectantly at the path in front of me. My fellow Toastmasters, And dear guests, how many of you have dreamt of treading an unknown path and when faced with it, felt fright? Show me with the raise of your hands. Yes, I can see one or two. I also felt this. I had a lifelong dream of trekking from Gangotri to Gomo to see the origin of Ganga from a very long time. And when I was standing there, starting my trek, I hear, ha 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 ha, what are you wearing? My little brother, he comes and he looks at me and laughs. By the way, a quick fact check. Who has planned this trip? Him. Who has a certificate in mountaineering? Him. Who goes to trek regularly? Him. Who will not listen to him? Me. Of course, I am elder to him. I am not going to listen. He pointed out, you are overdressed. I didn't listen. I walked on. 15 minutes into the journey, I felt it would have been good if I had taken his advice. But the elder sister in me is not ready to accept it. While walking, I suddenly discovered I couldn't see the mountains. I couldn't hear the river. I was focused on the path ahead, putting one step in front of the other, just so that I don't twist my ankle. This was my first trip. I didn't know what to expect, but the path was very dangerous in my opinion. Around an hour later, I come across a stream, not very wide, 5 to 6 feet. And to cross it, they had put a log on it. How do you cross a stream on a log? The other option was there. Was there were many rocks. You jump over one rock to the other and reach the other side. Imagine glacier melted, cold water coming. One splash and my shoes will be wet for the rest of the journey. Brother came to my rescue, put out a stick, and I held on to the stick for my dear life. One step at a time, one step at a time. Finally, crossed it. It was a big hurdle. Walking slowly on this path made me realize that how difficult it is standing on that 10,000-foot mountain with oxygen level very low. It is difficult even to breathe. Silence, therefore, was the only option. Being with yourself in the journey. It looked as if the journey took forever, and we are not stopping. I couldn't see anything other than mountains and stream. Finally, at 4 o'clock, we could stop in a place called Chil. Chil was a type of trees which grew around that place, so the name. I looked, where are the trees? Not a single tree to be found, because everything has been cut off and sold. Deforestation, the ugly truth. We had for dinner a steaming hot plate of Maggi. Can you imagine, after walking the whole day, how delicious that Maggi was? It started getting cold the moment the sun went down. At 12,000 feet where we were staying, air was even more rarefied. Breathing was even more difficult for me. I could not lie down that night. I had to sit wrapping around me 2 or 3 layers of woolens to keep me warm. But that one little mind of mine wanted to see, how does the sky look at night from here? Slowly, I tiptoed out. The velvet sky. The stars looked like diamonds. It felt as if I could stretch my hand and touch them. The glistening white snow on top of the mountains looked mesmerizing. And the biting cold made me go inside the tent. The next morning, my breathing had become even more labored. I had two options in front of me. Either I could go down and I would have been okay, or I could push myself another 9 kilometers, another 1,200 feet above to go and visit the place of my dream. I chose the next. But along with it, I took some help. I hopped onto a horse that was available there. I went the journey till 1 kilometer ahead of my destination and was forced to get down. Huge boulders were blocking the way. I looked confused. How am I going to cross this? When my brother said, find your own way. Find my own way? When I looked carefully, I saw the boulders, being of different shapes and sizes, had spaces in them from where I could slip in, out, up, down, and finally go. There lay the place of my dream. The mighty Ganga was a little stream gushing out of the icy caves. The snow around was not pristine white, but multicolored, mosaic-like, and not descriptive. I took a few minutes to register everything around me. I was having difficulty breathing, but still I scooped a fistful of water and sprinkled over my head. And I thought to myself, the path is not unknown anymore. I have reached my destination. Isn't it like this in our life? We need to push ahead with determination to reach where we want to reach. The path is not unknown anymore. Over to you, TMOD.
Big round of applause for Toastmaster Samita. Toastmaster Samita, I would say your speech was just like a table full of a 7-course meal. Everything into it, all expressions, the attitude of the elder sister was something I was appreciating, and you took us to nocturnal disturbances and so on and so forth. The journey kept on happening for us also. And believe me, my hands were going cold listening to your description of the cold and freezy nights and all. So thank you very much for that. And now we have our third speaker, that is DTM Nancy Goel. Although Nancy does not need any introduction, but yes, as is customary, I would introduce Nancy, and more so for the guests for today. And Nancy would be evaluated by Bindhu Joseph. Bindhu, are you there? Can you please?
Yes, I'm very much there.
Thank you so much for confirming. Nancy Goel, DTM Nancy Goel. She's been working as a senior data analyst. Nancy is a certified image consultant and personal branding coach. She's the president of the Gabbys Toastmasters Club. Apart from all this, Nancy is a wonderful human being at heart and a great, great mentor for all her mentees. Nancy, are we good to go? All right, I'll just give the details of the speech for Nancy first. So Nancy is attempting level 2, project 1. The project name is Know Your Sense of Humor, and the path is engaging humor. Timer, please note the speech duration is 5 to 7 minutes. Nancy Goel, Jyoti, a beacon of hope. A beacon of hope, Nancy Goel.
Picture this. You are entering a hall. On your right, there's a reception area. You see towards the left end, there's a small door. You enter into that door and you see another hall. There is a series of beds. On one of those beds, I was lying with a pesky ailment that thought it would never leave me alone. Little did I know, my savior was not the miraculous antibiotics, but my trusty roommate, Jyoti. Let me tell you a little bit about Jyoti. Jyoti, a force of nature, a beacon of hope, and a master of hospital small talks. Couple of years back, I was staying in Chandigarh. I was staying in a PG, a shared accommodation. I was the first occupant, and Jyoti came as the shared occupant with me. In the room as well as in my life. She was a colorful character. She's so colorful that she can give complex to a rainbow. More so, if you have seen Sonam Kapoor in any of her movies, Sonam is hardly 10% of what Jyoti is. One day, Jyoti came back from office. She noticed that I was lying on bed. I didn't go to office, and she immediately asked, Nancy, what happened? You didn't go to office? That was the era. It was evident that I didn't go to office because there was no work from home. Yes, that era of engineers existed. The moment I was about to answer, I immediately rushed to the restroom, came back, and I fainted. She put me up, picked me up, put me in a cab, and we rushed to the hospital, the nearest hospital. And that's how I landed in the Highway Hospital of Chandigarh. Not only Jyoti was bringing those insurance guys, the hospital forms, and the doctors, the nurses required for me, she was also mastering the art of hospital small talk. Time and again, she was asking my stomach, how's your stomach feeling now? As if my stomach would answer her back. Well, that was not all. She brought me the most beautiful soup, the most comfortable soup. With the soup came a doctor in a nice white coat, a doctor with a stethoscope around his neck. Immediately looking at the doctor, Jyoti was smitten. She was looking into his eyes, and he was checking mine. In the pursuit of keeping me healthy, Jyoti started dealing with another ailment. We all call it love struck it is. That doctor, he was a regular person, but I don't know what happened. I'm sure it was Cupid doing the night shift that day along with doctors. My evaluator could relate to this one. From that moment on, Jyoti was finding excuses to linger around in the hallway. I had formula in my left hand, and I was thinking of all the romantic novels that can start, the stories that can start in a hospital. Jyoti was finding excuses to bring that doctor back to the hospital ward, the emergency ward. She would time and again ask me, are you doing fine? Shall I go and check with him? Shall I bring him back? It kept on going for quite some time. The doctor would come, he would check my stomach, and he would leave. After he left, every time she would enact him, all right, Nancy, how are you doing now? She would act all smitten. He's so cute. And she would try all her ways to make us all laugh. By us, I mean everyone in the emergency ward. Slowly and slowly, everyone in the ward started joining us. They took interest in our conversations. It was like Jyoti from Munna Bhai MBBS, as if Jyoti would go up to them and say, "Koi na mamu, sab theek ho jayega. Just jadoo ki chappi le le," which means it's okay, you'll be all right, hale and hearty. Just hug it out. We all were having convola, lying on the bed, yet we were all laughing our heart out. I had pain in my stomach because of medical reasons on one hand. Then I had pain in my stomach because I was laughing my stomach out. That was fun. The moment passed, the night passed. I was all hale and hearty. I left the hospital. That point in time, the love story, the romantic story that started one-sided in the hospital became as forgettable as hospital food. That story, I still remember only because of Jyoti, my beacon of hope, who was with me all through the night, not just there to support me, but to ensure that I am not feeling alone. I was feeling happy and healthy. So, next time when life throws you a hospital stay, you pack some sense of humor for yourself and some part of Jyoti in a suitcase and go for it. Because after all, laughter is still the best medicine to keep you hale and hearty. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
A big round of applause for you and also for Jyoti. So I could actually visualize two young girls chit-chatting their hearts out and giggling and enjoying their stories. And I would say you've actually set out the mood for Valentine's Day, which for the youngsters is just round the corner now. That's the next big thing going to happen. Thank you so much, Nancy. And now before we move ahead, timer, could you please tell us if there is any disqualification today?
No TMOD.
All right, thank you so much. That's so great to hear. So Zoom Master, can we launch the poll? And just for the information of the guests, the poll will be launched. So out of the three speakers, although all of them were absolutely better than the best, all of them. But whatever you feel was the best for you, please mark that in the poll and submit the poll.
Yes, Toastmaster of the Day, we can launch the poll for speaker. Please, anybody from Saurav sir, could you please launch the poll?
Yeah, it's there. And the results will be declared at the end of the meeting by the general evaluator. So it's already going to be 8 o'clock. So we can go for a quick 5 minutes break. And it's 7:57. So I propose that we meet over here at 8:02.
Jaspreet, before we go on a break,
Yeah.
one quick thing in the poll, speaker one is mentioned as Samita. Actually, speaker one was Kanthi Perera.
Kanthi. Okay.
Just remember the speaker order. Just go with the name of the vote of the.
Yeah, the names would be fine, right?
Just go with the name of the speakers. Don't go with the speaker order.
Yes, yes. So that's for the guests. Please go with the names of the speakers. So we'll meet here at 8:02. Session. Yeah. DTM Saurav, you want to say something?
Yeah, we have to relaunch the polls for the best speaker because there is a bit of a mistake there. I think one of the speakers got disqualified on time. So we will relaunch it. We will do it after the TT section. Or as you introduce the TT speakers, I can do that because you'll have to edit the polls.
All right, fine.
Small error. The speaker one took 8 minutes. So we need to relaunch the polls.
Okay. Fine. So are we there? Are we good to go? Yeah. So now with this, we move on to the next section, which is the table topics section. For this, I would like to invite the table topics master for today, that is Toastmaster Deepani Jayasinghe. Deepani is a Bishop's College alumnus, graduated in Banking and Finance from the Institute of Bankers of Sri Lanka, Master in Business Administration from Cardiff Metropolitan University. Over to you, Toastmaster Deepani.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Table topics enable us to develop our impromptu speech skill. Table topics helps to train members to quickly organize and express their thoughts. Always you can take a table topic as a mini speech with opening, body, and conclusion. This also provides the opportunity for any member who is not a Toastmaster, guests who join with us today, and a person who is handling many roles in the agenda. Timer, please note, it is 1 to 2 minutes, the speeches, and if you speak more than 2 and 30 seconds, it will be a disqualification. I would like to invite one of our guests, Toastmaster Manoj. Toastmaster Manoj, are you there?
Yeah.
Yes. My first table topic is slurp and burp as a cultural perspective. Toastmaster Manoj, slurp and burp as a cultural perspective. As a cultural perspective, Toastmaster Manoj. Please give your views about it.
Hello, Toastmasters, and most welcome guest. Now, I think the slurp and the burp is the most traditional dilemma on a dining table. Now, picture this. Back in 20 years, when I sat with my dad and mom back in India, we had this championing of arts with sound effects on the dining table. Now, coming from a South Indian family, we have the rasam, we have the sambar, we have the other Indian dishes. Most of them are liquid kind of dishes as well. So we try to give a burp, to give a affection or appreciating the person who create the food. My mother creates sambars very well. It is mouth-watering. You have to not only lick your fingers, you have to lick your whole hand from top to bottom. That's the fantasy of eating my mother's sambar. My dad is horrible in cooking, but he too prepare curries like rasams. And when we eat those things, when we eat the mouth-watering things in your glass, because when we pour those rasams in the glass, we try to burp, make the sound of it. Now, for us, it's fine. It's a glory, actually. We all appreciate each other as a family member, and we try to appreciate whoever is created. But picture this, if you have some guests coming from outside, traditionally, people generally from different part of within India as well, they hate to hear those sound effects which we give to the food as well. Now, we feel it's a malicious cacophony of the fruit actually coming out, but they are completely. Now, being in the Western world now, I'm very conscious about, when we try to sip a coffee, I would be mindful about who is sitting next to me, a Gora sitting next to me or someone else next to me, because they feel it's a kind of your habit you're trying to show to the people. So I'd be very mindful about it. But for me, I think I would like to cherish the food, whichever form and size, whether it's watery things, whether it's sambar, whether it is some, I like to give the kind of appreciation to whoever creating by slurping and by burping it. Thank you, and over to Toastmaster Deepani.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manoj, for that wonderful explanation. Now I will call upon Toastmaster Ankul Pandi. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing your name. Extremely sorry if I'm pronouncing wrong. Toastmaster Ankul Pande. Are you in, Ankul?
Toastmaster Deepani, we will go next.
Yes. Then Toastmaster Uma Nataraj. Toastmaster Uma Natraj, of course. Then, Toastmaster Lakshmi Sujata. Go back to Toastmaster Manvi Kumar.
Yes, I am here.
Yes,
Can
I
you
am
hear me
here.
clearly?
Yes. Toastmaster Manvi, my topic is, what are your delightful flavors? What are your delightful flavors?
I'm not sure in the room how many of you are Punjabis, but I am one of them. And if you ask any of the individual who belongs to a specific state known as Punjab or is Punjabi by culture, what you'll listen about the flavors is the spice in it, the sweet, a mix of everything that anyone can imagine. I still remember whenever we have guests at place, they wonder how can you eat that much spice? How can you eat that much butter? How can you eat all these things in total? That too not for 1 day or 2 days, but for every single day. The most delightful flavor, being a Punjabi myself, is the spice along with flavor of butter in it. May it be the parathas, we call it the chapatis with oil on it, or may it be any of the vegetables with creams, with cheese, with a lot of spice. That is what delights all of us in our family. But I would love to know from the table topic master, what is that one flavor that delights you the most? Table topic master.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Manvi. It was a great speech. Even I prefer some great savories. And I saw Toastmaster Lakshmi Sujatan has raised her hand. Next topic to you, Toastmaster. Slurping your noodles loudly is considered as a compliment to the chef in Japan and China. This the slurping your noodles loudly is considered as a compliment to the chef in Japan and China. What is your ideas and views about it, Toastmaster Lakshmi?
Slurping your noodles in China and Japan. Is it a compliment? Honestly, sure, and with a lot of confidence that slurping your noodles in India
I think we lost Lakshmi.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Now, yes.
Okay. So until where did you hear? I'm not sure.
Can hear you.
I'm sorry.
But I think there's a lag in your voice now also, Lakshmi.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Can you just try with the camera off for a moment?
Sure. Let me do that. Is it better now? Are you able to hear me better?
This I think will be better. Yeah. Please
This would be better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So do I start from the beginning or do I wait until where was I heard?
I guess you can start from the beginning, Lakshmi.
Okay. Slurping on your noodles. Is it a compliment in China and Japan? I have no idea. But I can tell you one thing with a lot of guarantee, that slurping in your home is surely a big compliment, not to the person who made it, but to the person. Saturday mornings calls for noodles breakfast. And when I say noodles, it is only Maggie noodles.
Toastmaster
soft-
today is disconnected. Shall we move to another person?
Okay, yes, we can. Lakshmi, your voice has a serious lag into it. So maybe we can try it after some time.
Yes.
It's table topic master, we can move ahead.
Yeah. I will call another. Toastmaster Bimpy Kumari, are you there?
Yes, sir. Table
Yes.
topic master.
Yes. Toastmaster Bimpy Kumari. Keep your elbows off the table. Keep your elbows off the table. Toastmaster Bimpy Kumari.
Whenever we wanted to lead in our life, we have some desires, we have some goals in our life. So it's always very important to be come out of your comfort zone and take a small steps and put off your elbows above your table. It means what I can understand from this, that whenever you are coming out of your comfort zone, then only we will be able to achieve our goals, whatever we have set up in our life. So I had many goals decided for this year, 2024. So I already started with that, coming out of my comfort zone, which is one of my goal, coming to the Toastmaster, and fear of speaking on stage, or might be learning more about the leadership skill, is one of my goal joining Toastmaster. So this is my take on this topic. Over to you, table topic master, Deepani.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Bimpy Kumari. And now my next table topic is to Toastmaster Seema Badya. Never speak with your mouth full of food. Never speak with your mouth full of food. Toastmaster Badya.
Thank you, Deepani, for this wonderful topic. Never speak with your mouth full of food, right? Yes, that's such a thing. When we are sitting on a dining table and the conversations are just flowing, and something you hear, and they are criticizing you, and what happens? The food is in your mouth, and you want to shout, no, no, no! Why I didn't do this? I oh, but the food is in your mouth, and you don't want to spit it out. And what happens? Everybody's enjoying. Everybody has the taste. Now she cannot speak. So what? They just continue doing it. And by the time the food is going down, everyone had a good laugh. And they said, yes, we wanted to enjoy and see what are you going to do? Yes, we cannot speak when the food is in the what will happen? Oh my God, it will be so embarrassing. No, 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 I cannot do that. It's better to not speak when the food is in your mouth, when your mouth is full of food. Yeah, just speak when you just digested it, and by the time you get the patience to understand the things and speak without being sizes you or anyone, don't get angry, take your time, please. So I think whenever you're at the dining table and you want to speak, take a moment, pause before you speak, and then make your speech effective. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Toastmaster Seema, to have your meals in a good manner, advising us. Toastmaster DTM Savrav, I will give the next topic to you. If your child drink or eat with a loud sucking noise, if your child drink or eat with a loud sucking noise, what would you do? Over to you, DTM Savrav.
Absolutely nothing. I belong to the clan who believes in having food which is finger licking good in the finger licking manner. When it comes to food, I am a believer in the fact that you must enjoy your food and give a damn to the people who are actually looking at you. Let me tell you a small story which happened in the US. I went to an US restaurant and I ordered a crab, a king size crab. And I was given those crab clam shells and whatnot to break the crab shells and have it. 10 minutes into all that song and dance with me and the crab. And please remember, this was one of the best fine dining restaurants of US that I'm talking about. Everyone around me were properly dressed and, you know, the way it should be, the fork placed exactly where it should be, the spoon kept exactly where it should be. And 10 minutes into it, I understood that I am never going to be able to tackle this crab with this clamshells and whatnot. So I immediately went all hands down, digging into the crab and having all the flesh that I want to eat from the crab. I know vegetarians in this meeting are already, feeling uncomfortable with all the description, but for all the crab lovers and the seafood lovers, that's how you eat a crab. You don't give a damn whether you're making a noise, whether you're licking your fingers. The only thing that matters to you is, are you enjoying the crab? So if my daughter is making a lot of noise, slurping, burping, and maybe also farting, I don't even give a damn, as long as she's enjoying the food and she's loving it. Because what matters is that she should be having the right nutrition and she should be having fun having the food. In a world where we are already so much conscious about the way we walk, we talk, we think, we breathe, I think we don't need to add one more layer about, are we making the right kind of noises when we are having the right kind of food? That's the only thing that I will teach her. Go and have your food and just love it. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, DTM Savrav, for that wonderful explanation. My next, the final topic goes to Toastmaster Samita. So, Toastmaster Samita, I have learned that most of the Indians, they used to eat their right hand rather than using forks and spoons. Most of them enjoy meals with their families and friends using right hand. Toastmaster Samita, always use your right hand to pick up food and eat. Always use your right hand to pick up food or eat. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you. A topic which is a bit controversial because many in the Western world eat with both their hands. We in India, we use our right hand predominantly to eat our food. The question is what type of food we are eating and how are we enjoying our food. So if by enjoying the fresh food that we have cooked and we enjoy it having it with our fingers, first you smell the food, you touch the food, and then you put it in your mouth. Of course, we will be enjoying it. And that's the right way, I will say. If your food is cold, using a spoon makes sense. But we usually have hot food in India. And that's the reason we use our right hand. Now, one such incident happened where I happened to visit a South Indian friend of mine who had the banana leaves and I started eating. My friend on the right wanted a spoon to eat. And I told her that sambar doesn't taste same with a spoon as with your fingers. She at first did not agree with me. But after a few spoonfuls of trying to put the sambar and rice together and putting it in her mouth, She found everyone around her eating with the finger and enjoying it. Finally, I found her ditching her spoon and starting to eat with that silly smile on her face, saying that, yeah, your food tastes good when we eat it with our fingers. I said, that's it. It depends on the food. Here, we enjoy it. You will also enjoy it. And that's what matters. It depends on what food you are eating. The food which has to be eaten with the fingers can be eaten with the fingers. The food which can be eaten with spoon can be eaten with spoon. But I prefer my fingers. And I think so do you.
Yes.
What do you prefer?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, Toastmasters Samita, I do prefer eating from my right hand. It's more tastier, as you said, rather than using a spoon. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day. That's my session as table topic master. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Table Topic Master Deepani Jayasinghe. Wonderful topics and wonderful takes that came up. And I think we had all kinds of views and thoughts coming up, something that I was wanting to know from people. It came out through your table topics. And I guess this is what food does to us. It brings us closer across all cultures, across all geographical boundaries. It brings us closer to one another because we enjoy, we just let ourselves loose if the food is good and we enjoy irrespective of whatever. Now, moving ahead to the third section of the meeting, I would like to call upon our general evaluator for the day so that he can tell us about whatever, the fine nuances that he has been able to catch hold of, and the evaluation section can be done by the various evaluators. Over to you, general evaluator, sir.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jaspreet, and welcome all of you to the evaluation session. As I mentioned in the beginning, I am being assisted by a panel of evaluators and TAGL team. The first speaker was Toastmaster Kanthi, and her evaluator is Toastmaster Mamta Singh. Before I invite Mamta, let me introduce who she is. Toastmaster Mamta is a software developer at HCL Software, Bangalore. She hails from Steel City of India, Bokaro, Jharkhand. Yes, the land of MS Dhoni's place. Hoping to meet him one day. Her hobbies are traveling and clicking lots of Instagrammable photos. So Toastmaster Mamta, would you like to come forward and present your report on the evaluation of first speaker, Toastmaster Mamta?
Thank you, General Evaluator, DTM Atul Sirivastava. My target audience and my target speaker. Toastmaster Kanthi, first of all, congratulations for delivering your speech, coming here and delivering your speech with such content, representing the dark side of our society. Congratulations for that. You touched our heart with miles apart. I must say that you lived this story not just once but twice. First, when it happened to you, and second, while delivering your speech. And I understand that that may be the reason the time you missed the time and it gone to 8 minutes. I completely understand that. Now, coming to the objective of your speech, your objective was asking you to write a speech with a defined purpose. And what was that purpose? It was to show compassion and understanding towards the marginalized groups in our society. So you did justice to that. Nowhere in your speech, nowhere I was confused. Like, objective is asking something, your topic is something, and the content is something else. It happens with most of the speakers, but you were completely in a straight path, properly aligned with what it was asking you to do. What your objective was asking you to do. Kudos to that. Now coming to the impact, you wretched our heart with your content, and not just with your content, but with your delivery style. I still remember the teary eyes, your voice modulation, your empathetic voice. You are giving the speech with so much of emotional resonance. So it impacted us. Now, coming to the point of recommendation, you are giving a speech, that too in a motivational strategies path. So the conclusion could have been better. The conclusion could have been more powerful. How you ended up your speech, that we should help each other. So that is a very basic thing. We know that max we can do is we can go and help. We can give them some food which may last 1 to 2 days. We can give them some money which may last 1 to 2 days. But what could be the solution? If you could have incorporated any practical ways, any action items, any potential solution for that, so your speech, we could have taken some things from your speech. So overall, if I summarize, we connected with your speech. Objective was very clear. You impacted us. Work on these conclusion part, and also the body language part. Like half of your hand was visible. You are giving a motivational speech in path, that too in a motivational strategy. So your hand and palm, I was able to see like this. So you should be in a more commanding way. So these are the point of recommendation, I would say. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mamta. Our second prepared speaker was Toastmaster Samita Kar, and her evaluator is Toastmaster Khushbu Modi, who is a second generation entrepreneur, a member at Mumbai Toastmasters for 2 years, past vice president, public relations and club treasurer, president of Seva Yoga Foundation, Goregaon, West Chapter, that promotes mental health and mindfulness. She gravitates towards photography, content writing, tablescaping, and globetrotting. So Toastmaster Khushbu, would you like to come forward and present your evaluation report for the second speaker?
Sure. Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Toastmaster Samita, after hearing your speech, I have one feeling. The mountains are calling, and I must go. Trekking to the origins of River Ganges has always been on my bucket list. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Samita, for reigniting my sense of adventure and giving me this valuable lesson to not stop until I reach the peak, and also take my younger sibling with me when I was planning a solo trip. Change of plans, thanks to you. I loved your speech, absolutely. And let me tell you what I loved the most. Number one, you started with a bang. Dale Carnegie says, you tell them what you will tell them, and then you tell them what you told them. Toastmaster Samita followed this exact same approach. I preempted from the opening question of yours when you said, have you ever thought of walking an unknown path and were you frightened? I knew where the story was going. And then you told us this beautiful story and reiterated that towards the end by imposing a quintessential message to us of never quitting and keep going. Wonderfully done. This helped me hooked throughout to your speech from start to finish. Number two, you had verbal inflection, cadence, and sensories. Well, they say a masterful speech can paint 1,000 pictures, just like a painting can paint 1,000 words. And you painted your story beautifully by using a lot of sensories, talking about streams that were 5 to 6 feet wide, or talking about melting glaciers or Maggie. Also, you had character dialogues where you said, ha ha, for your brother. Having those interactions and using sensories gave me, sitting in the audience, a 3D immersive experience. I am cold now and I'm craving for Maggie. Thank you. Well, I feel, Toastmaster Samita, your speech that you delivered today already has reached its peak. Let's see how you and I can collaborate together to further elevate it. I would have one recommendation, and that is amplify the mic drop moment. Toastmaster Samita, the mic drop moment in your speech was reaching the origin of Ganges. You could paint it more emotionally by telling me what was going on in your head when you reached the top. Was it actually worth the climb? How did you feel? And if you relate that to any other example, any other real life example of how we all have to travel the unknown path to reach the destination, and if we face the climb, it will all be worth it in the end. And number two, close the loop. You build up anticipation talking about your brother. If you reference that again and tell us that your sibling is also important in your journey and you might learn something from that, even if it's a fleeting message, it will close the loop and create a full circle. I feel your speech already was wonderful, and you have the potential to reach thousands of people and reignite their sense of adventure as well. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmasters Khushbu. Our third speaker was Toastmaster Nancy Goel, and her evaluator is Toastmaster Bindhu Joseph, who is a consultant oncologist and professor at Kidwai Memorial Institute of Oncology. She is on a continuous journey to learn, improve, and share. Her hobbies are versatile, anything that challenges her creativity in the present or future. I now invite Toastmaster Bindhu to please present her evaluation report for speaker number 3.
Dear friends, have you ever come across a situation where the evaluator is a little more nervous than the speaker? I'm evaluating DTM Nancy. Why not? Nancy, let's see. Did I like your speech? Clever. You were very clever. How could I not like your speech? It personally related to me, as all of you have heard. I'm an oncologist. Yes, I've had my residency memories just brought back with a wham. The crushes, being crushed, having crushes. Yes, I related to it. But more importantly, the aim or essence of a humorous speech is whether your audience related to it. I should think so. You had all the tools, storytelling, universal tool. And then relatability. Don't all of us have a friend that makes us smile, that elevates our day by just being themselves? We can relate to that. And then a very, let's say, unique tool, or let's say a very effective tool. You use scenic synonyms. Basically, you related the funny situations in your story to characters that we could relate to. You used cinematic characters and a few other areas also where you made us think, if not in the same thought process, something that we could relate to similarly. That was pretty clever. Now, coming to whether you met your speech objectives, as far as the project objectives are concerned, definitely. You had a humorous story, it was from your memory, and the delivery was, as you know, as we all know, was pretty exceptional. Now, did you meet your objective? Were you comfortable with your style of humor? Well, seriously, I think maybe not from the get-go. There was a lag period before you reached that comfort level. I would say roughly around 2 minutes, because before I could see the sparkle in your eyes, a true indication that you are living into your speech. You did get there, definitely. A few suggestions maybe to avoid the lag. One is visual manipulation. Think of your friend. I mean, this is a memory. I'm sure that don't concentrate on the audience in the beginning. Just think that you are connecting with that friend and your memory. That sparkle is going to be there from the very beginning. The second thing is, when you're doing a humorous speech, maybe don't be so self-conscious about hand gestures. I felt them a little distracting from yourself. Be natural about it. Third, maybe a few pauses before you reach your punchline. That can help us concentrate, know where to concentrate, nowhere, especially when you're doing a wry speech, dry humor, that's important. So, Nancy, my last message to you is take the bull by the horn. Finish this project next 3 months. I want to hear more humorous attempts from you. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bindhu. Thank you. Please give a round of applause to all these three evaluators. They have done a wonderful job. Timer, Toastmaster.
Yes, General
Yogita,
Evaluator.
are all three evaluators qualified for voting? Can you confirm?
Sir, Evaluator 2 is not qualified. Rest all are qualified.
Okay. And evaluator 2 is Toastmaster Khushbu, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Zoom moderator, are we having voting now for evaluators or later?
We can launch it. It is already edited. Nagesh sir, would you like to launch evaluator and table topic speaker?
I have launched it. I've launched it.
Okay.
Okay. And after this, Zoom moderator, would you like to finish with your speakers? Paul as well? Paul. Yeah.
Sure, we can do all the three polls now.
Yeah.
While polling is going on, DTM, Atul, we can conduct the GE session.
Actually, I cannot give feedback on any evaluation until the poll is over because it biases the results.
Sure, sir. It's already done. The evaluators polling is closed. Now we are doing the polling for the best speaker.
Yes, let's finish this. Okay. Great. Once it is finished, I can start giving my feedback and invite my TAGL team as well. So yes, may I, in the meantime, may I request our timer, Toastmaster Yogita, to come forward and gives details of her timing records.
Yes, definitely. So, shall I share my screen or shall I just tell you the time? I'll just share the screen.
Whichever way you are comfortable. This is your slot, so you present the best you can.
Okay, so in today's meeting, there were only two disqualification. Everybody else was on time. And timing is noted in this section in blue. And I have already submitted my qualified. So may the best one win. Thank you.
Great. I hope everyone has noted their timings as per their personal interest. Thank you.
I'll also share it on the chat box for everybody's interest.
Yes. Thank you, Toastmaster Yogita. My next member on TAGL team is our counter, Toastmaster Tarun. Can you please come and present your report?
Sure. Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So quickly, first of all, I would like to highlight TM Khushbu, TM Bindhu. They were flawless in their evaluation speech. TM Bimpy and TM Samita were flawless in the table topics. This was the point one. Point two, I have shared all the count, and filler words count, so you can look into it. But along with that, I have also mentioned the per minute count, because there are some speakers who are getting just 2 minutes time, and there are some speakers, if you see like TMOD and general evaluator, who is speaking for more than 4 or 5 minutes. So ideally, I've tried to measure it on a per minute basis. So on column B, I will sharing this report. You can just see on a per minute basis how many R counts you are making it. I'm sharing the report. I hope it helps you in improving. Thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tarun, for your report. I now invite listener of the meeting, Toastmaster Inderpal Chadda, to please come forward and shower us with your questions.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can.
so I'll check the listening skills now. So my first question is, what was the ingredient that Jaspreet mentioned that which was there in laddu she had in Delhi that made it delectable?
Fenugreek.
Yeah, that's correct. Second one is, what's the origination of fish and chips that we actually think is and what it is exactly, what it is actually?
We think it's England, but it's actually Portugal.
Yeah, that's correct. Now we'll give a chance to other people. So my third question is, when Kanthi was narrating her story, what was the name of the mother and son who was abandoned?
Madhuri
Name
and
of-
Namida.
Yeah, that's correct, Sudharma. My fourth question is, so when Samita was narrating her story, what time she took her first stop?
15 minutes, I guess.
Yeah, Atul, General Evaluator.
4 o'clock.
4 p.m. Yeah, that's correct. And my last question is, which hospital which hospital Nancy was taken in Chandigarh when she was not well?
IB hospital?
Yeah, I think I mentioned in my question, but yeah, I think these are the question I had. I think everybody listened it carefully and we got the answers. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Inderpal, for compiling your questions. And now I invite our grammarian Toastmaster Aparna Raja to please come forward and present her report.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. I have a plethora of content for today's meeting because there's been some amazing usages. Starting off with the great stuff. Slurp and burp itself, the very theme itself was beautifully crafted, and I think it lent dialogue to the entire meeting. There were several hyperboles as well. I live to eat, as used by our DTM Nagesh. An extra dash of excitement, our Toastmaster of the day said, and she said a few more things. Beat the cold wave. It was a voila moment. Slurps for burps. An act of sheer desperation by Kanthi. She had some great words there as well. Kanthi also said a few good phrases like stop looking the other way. But more importantly, she had excellent literary devices, as in she had this knack for creating an imagery, as did the other speakers. And I made note of a few of those. But before that, let me finish Kanti's good ones. She also said a phrase like, brought my world crashing down, quick to judge. Our second speaker, Toastmaster Samita, said, treading on an unknown path, nocturnal disturbances. She had rhetorical questions. Actually, she had 3 of them, right? Who planned? Who did that? Who did this? Him. She had the question, she had the answer. I'm sure the rhetorical device has a name, but that was a beautiful structure she brought. It lent great character to her speech. Now, moving on to the imagery part, which our speakers brought in. There was this description of the children eating tea with the crust, which was beautifully described. That is a literary device. And then we had Toastmaster Samita talk about, I'm quickly pulling that because I have a huge report. Okay. Yeah, she spoke about the Ganges gushing out of the caves and words to describe that scene when she had that voila moment. So those were great imageries. Then moving on to Manvi, who had, how can you eat that much spice? How can you eat so much? How can you? Again, she had rhetorical devices in her speech. Our third speaker, master of small talks, colorful character, as if my stomach would answer back. Cupid doing the night shift. Hale and hearty, you will be hale and hearty, just hug it out. These were great phrases. Life throws you a hospital stay. Play on word here. Life throws you a lemon or something with it. She said, life throws you in the hospital's way. Then she also had another play of word, laughing my stomach out, because she was admitted for her stomach infection. We generally say laughing our heart out, but she said laughing my stomach out. That was a nice word play. And then we had guest Manoj in his table topics. He did this beautiful thing. He said, there is this dilemma on the dining table. Malicious manners while sitting next to the foreigners. Then our table topic master, she had some great phrases, but one of the best were delightful flavors. To describe her question, she had these beautiful phrases, delightful flavors and so on. Our table topic speaker, Saurav, had this nice phrase, song and dance with the crab. Are we making the right kind of noises while eating the right kind of food? Again, a question and wordplay. Mamta, touched her heart from miles apart, touched our heart from miles apart. She beautifully said that as well, summed it up. And then she had this nice phrase, emotional resonance. Khushbu, mic drop moment. Her speech was flawless, might I add. Very few structural mistakes, grammatically beautifully placed. Her pronunciations are all on point. I think she was one of the well-spoken person in our meeting today. We could all take a paper out of a book, as they say, or a feather out of a book. Moving on to Bindhu. Crushes being crushed, scenic synonyms, visual manipulations, not from the get-go, take the bull by the horn. So such great usages, and quickly, good words, unabashed, concoction by the Toastmaster of the day. Then we had Kanthi, who said condemnation. Then there was, I think, Khushbu, who said cadence and sensory, nicely used as well. Now, moving on quickly to the not so great part. Now, I looked up these pronunciations. Croissant, which we've given the French flair, is actually croissant. I didn't know that. It's croissant. I had to look this up. Then it's voila, not voila. The I is given a subtle flavor. It's voila. Uneducated. It's not uneducated. D followed by a connector letter like U is pronounced as J. So it would be uneducated. Miraculous, not miraculous. Miraculous. Kudos, not kudos. Kudos. Gestures and not gestures. Gestures. G followed by an E is J. Gestures. So, and then some great, or rather some not so great usages, structures, quickly pointing it out. I want to welcome, it would be welcome you, not want to welcome. You would say, welcome you. I would like to welcome, or I welcome is right. Can I and may I confusion happened again. Can I is asking whether you have the capability to do it. May I is asking for permission. So when you're inviting someone, it is may I. May I please call upon? You're asking for their permission. So it's may I. Can I make the speech? It's a dialogue where you're questioning your ability. Difference. Serve the report. It's actually share the report. I made that mistake. And a few other things, but then most of it was great. Then there was this one other thing I want to point out. There were some non-English words that were used like kaddu, khichdi, sambar, rasams, and a very controversial one, gora. So I think we should be a little more careful while using these words, at least give the translation of it, or better still, stay away from them. Then the word of the day was used very clearly by two people. That would be our general evaluator, DTM Atul Sirivastava, and a Toastmaster of the day, Jaspreet. I did hear a few people say it, but then I couldn't hear it being used properly, and hence I couldn't put it. If I've missed anyone else, I apologize. With that, I come to the end of my report, and back to you, General Evaluator of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Perna. Everything you said was delectable, of course. Well, these four members of my TAGL team have done a wonderful job. You know, timer Yogita is a go with the flow and a joyful person. She's always been a people's person, so enjoying her face as an HR, an image, and soft skills trainer. Beyond the 9-5 hassle, you will find her dancing, reading mind-bending books, exploring new places, or experimenting with different foods. Our accountant Tarun has joined Toastmasters to be an effective speaker in his professional and personal life. He has selected the Gabbys because in his club, he finds a supportive and positive learning space. And our grammarian Aparna is a passionate speaker, hippie at heart, mom at home, and an entrepreneur by choice. And our listener in the fall is a chartered accountant by profession, working for FDD team in E&Y, that is Ernst& Young Global, since last 10 years. Her family is based out of Chandigarh, from where she has done her schooling and college. During her free time, she likes baking, watching TV, traveling, and painting. So please give a big round of applause to my TAGL team, friends. Great. Zoom moderator, do we have any other poll for anybody else, or I can start giving my feedback?
For the role takers, the poll for the role takers is left.
We'll launch
Including
all the
the
polls together. Let us continue with the
feedback. Okay,
Yes.
great. Let me start with the beginning of the meeting. To my pleasant, I would not say surprise, but to my pleasure, to my satisfaction, to my happiness, meeting started sharp at 7 p.m. It's very rare to see at meetings. I have attended many meetings, and this started sharp at 7 p.m. Thanks to a very meticulous planning with the organizers did. As I had mentioned, that everything was well communicated, and that's why all the role players and speakers were ready. Toastmaster Bimpy Kumari, Sergeant at Arms, very appropriately introduced and reminded the audience, the speakers, about the ethics and the practicalities, ground rules of the meeting. Presiding officer has made the guests as well as visiting Toastmasters very comfortable by inviting them to speak how they feel about it. I'm not sure whether presiding officer introduced Toastmaster of the day as per the script given to him. I'm not sure. Maybe he might have, but I might have missed that introduction. And he set the tone about theme of that day, that is slurping or burping, with his own story. Wonderful. I never knew that Nagesh is so fond of slurping and burping. Well, Toastmaster of the day, Jaspreet had stole the day with her wonderful engagements. She had brought many new information, many pieces of new information. There were some misnomeric or some wrong information we had about certain food items, and she gave us some surprise information, and she engaged many of us to speak about it. I am not sure whether there was a technical glitch in her presentation. When she played a couple of videos, there was no sound. Was it for a purpose, Toastmaster Jaspreet, or you missed to play the sound? You should have selected the sound when you were sharing the video.
Only one video was there, rest were just images. First one was the video, and rest were images.
Video with sound, the first one, where I
Yes.
didn't hear anything. So maybe when you
Okay.
select any video, you should tick the sound as well. So there we didn't hear the audio. Otherwise, you had done a wonderful job right from beginning till the end. You kept the whole meeting together, and that was what was required. And you had introduced the various speakers very well. And one more thing, it is always good and it's expected that the audience as well as speakers get reminded about the objectives of the prepared speeches. So if you had invited various evaluators to read out the objectives in the beginning, probably, even audience would have listened to those speeches from that angle, whether that speaker is meeting those requirements or not. So it is always a good convention to get to know the objectives right in the beginning. Now the three speakers have delivered their speeches very well, and their evaluators have done a wonderful job. Only one or two additions I would like to have. For our first speaker, Kanthi Perera, and she was evaluated very well by Toastmaster Mamta. You know, any speech becomes very credible and authentic when you add your bit to it. So Toastmaster Kanthi had raised a social issue, but I was very eager to know at the end what she did towards it. You know, unless we tell what we did to improve it, then audience don't take that speech as a very credible speech. It becomes a one-sided. Or I'm expecting the whole world to do certain thing, but I am not telling what I did. So that would have added more credibility if Toastmaster Kanti would have added what she has done with her own right, with her own might. And her head was partially cropped in the screen, so she could have kept herself slightly distant, so that whole physique for full body were visible. And I liked the best about her was the emotional touch. She was at the best. You know, she was connecting well, and we could see the emotions in her eyes. The second speaker was Toastmaster Samita Kar, and I liked her pace of storytelling. She had all the excitement in us, and we were not know what she was going to tell. Two observations I had, if she could improve, I felt that there was a little echo in her room. You know, whatever she was saying, little bit reverberation, little bit echo was there. Maybe the room was small where she was speaking. So next time, check in your audio visual whether your voice is echoing. I could feel little bit echo, maybe because of the room orientation. And second thing, I was looking for a bit more of conclusion. I was looking a bit more of conclusion towards the end. The story was wonderful. Then you ask a very good question, do you treat the unknown path? And then you should connect in the conclusion. You could have motivated us that we all go out for unknown path in our profession, in our social life, and we should be prepared. So some message could have been an icing on the cake. The third speaker was Toastmaster Nancy, and she was very clear what she was narrating. Her story was very clear, and as Toastmaster Bindhu had given um her inputs, I hope Nancy will follow. I have myself experimented with many humorous speeches, and in the beginning they were disaster because it is no humorous speech is not so easy. So when we feel that things are not going to pick up, or it is the first time I'm experimenting with the speech, it is always good to make it interesting with some masala. The slurpy and burpy masala here, it could have been with some pictures. She should have brought some pictures of the hospital. She should have brought some picture of her friend Jyoti. So that could have been crossed and made, you know, the whole presentation more interesting. So it is not that interest comes only from laughter. Interest can come from what you show and how you know, do the vocal presentation. So some masala would have added more to the story. So that was my penny to whatever wonderful job all the what speakers have done. Table topic master has been very, very reassuring in her talk. You know, very rarely I find that, you know, table topics master speak in such a natural, comforting voice that even if she was picking somebody unawares, they were coming forward that this teacher, this moderator is very loving, and come whatever he speaks, he will not mind. And that was the love she had spread out while inviting the people to speak. So wonderful job, Toastmaster, Madam, table topic master. And all the topics that you chose were very much appropriate to the occasion. My TAGL team, and my evaluators have done a wonderful job. With these words, if nothing is missing, I hand it over to the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Jaspreet.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator Atul Sirivastava, for this very, very detailed evaluation that you did, touching up all the nuances and keeping in mind whatever needed to be done, whether the repolling has been done or not. So thank you very much for doing all that. And without taking much time, I would just want to extend a wish, and I would like you also to, have that kind of a wish. That same theme we will have in a physical meeting, and we'll have a potluck kind of a thing, everybody bringing his own dish, which is, belonging to the culture and the place, and all of us savoring it, enjoying it, and having a lot more table topics on that. Thank you so much. Had a nice time. And with this, over to you, Presiding Officer Nagesh sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Give our TMOD a huge round of applause. While I continue to talk for about a minute or a half, I will launch the poll now for the best auxiliary role taker. Please vote. It's on your screen. Your favorite auxiliary role player today. Timer, accounter, grammarian, and listener. So while you're voting, I would like to share that I love the discussions today. On sambar, noodles, somebody talked about crabs. We had discussion on right hand and left hand eating habits, croissant, friends and chats with Jyoti, a wonderful one. I love the emotional speech, an inspiring speech by Toastmaster Kanthi today. And I cannot forget the visual of butter, loads of butter in Punjabi food. Did you miss hearing that? Also, I heard somebody explaining licking the hand while having sambar, right? So let me launch the next poll for the favorite. It's already launched. Okay. So vote for your favorite role taker out of TMOD, TTM, and General Evaluator. And most importantly, in today's meeting, what I liked was amazing reports by that TAGL team. Now that the poll is over, detailed ones, everybody was so very attentive to do their role. Please give a round of applause for all the role takers who were there in the meeting today. Well, well, well. So the polls are over. Now it's time for me to announce the results of the poll, right? So let me start with the best auxiliary role taker. It goes to somebody who had a very, very detailed report, and I wonder how she took so much of detail, concised it, and gave a report. A detailed report, I appreciate that. The best auxiliary role player is the grammarian Toastmaster Aparna Raja. Give her a round of applause. Now let me go to the best table topic speaker. We had 6 speakers today, 7 in fact. I think 1 got disqualified. Nevertheless, out of all those who voted today, the favorite table topic speaker is, you need to guess? I don't think so. DTM Saurav Datta. Give him a round of applause. Now let me go to the favorite role taker in today's meeting. Somebody who made us splur and burp. Toastmaster, Jaspreet Kaur. Thank you so much for that culinary delight. Best evaluator. Ooh, this was no-brainer. We all heard her give such a wonderful report. And I was not able to vote. However, if I had to vote, I also would have voted for her. Evaluator, Toastmaster, Bindhu Joseph, congratulations. Give her a big round of applause. And now, the favorite speaker. Toastmaster Samita Kar. Congratulations to all the winners of this meeting number 7. With that, I close this meeting number 7. Thank you so much for joining. See you all Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on a hybrid meeting. Those who want to come and shake hands with us can meet us at 91 Springboard, Indiranagar, Bangalore 38. Good night.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you all.